Good morning students. I hope you are all fine. كل سنة وانتم طيبين بمناسبة شهر رمضان. إن شاء الله يعود عليكم بخير وصحة وسلامة ويحفظ مصر من كل سوء يا رب إن شاء الله. Today I'm going to continue my chapter 1 about the demand for the audit and assurance services. Right. Objective 5 regarding assurance services, and you have to distinguish between audit service from other assurance as well as non-assurance service. Right. Assurance service. What is assurance service? Actually, it is an independent professional service. I mean, introduced by an independent person. Is our auditor, EA, which improves the quality of information. What for? For the decision making. This is actually services are valued because it is from an independent board. Our CPE, and perceived as being unbiased. I mean, not in favor of any specific party, with respect to information examined. In fact, individuals who are responsible for making decisions, they are looking for assurance services. What for? Why should they? As to improve reliability, مصداقية, and relevance, ملائمة, of the information used as a base for their decision. In fact, to make it easy for you, I prefer you divide the assurance service into two types. Actually, write with me please all the time. Bring your chapter in your mobile or hard copy, whatever you like, and try to write my comments please, and a pen of course, right? I go back to my assurance services. It contains two types, right? Write it down please. Number A, attestation services, and number B, other assurance services. Let's go back to our assurance services. The first type is attestation services. Before I go to the attestation service, it means, which is number A, in fact, attestation services include 4 parts. Also, what are they? Number 1, audit of the historical financial statements. Number 2, audit of internal control over financial reporting. Number 3, review of historical financial statements. Number 4, other attestation services. Right. In fact, assurance services can be provided by CPAs or other professionals. CPAs should have long years of experience regarding financial statement audit, and this is the first important aspect in your topic. In addition, Section 404 of the most important act in the profession, issued 2002, this is Sarbanes-Oxley Act, which we can abbreviate it to SOX, S-O-X. They now also require assurance about internal control. No company, no banks in Egypt or elsewhere without having an internal control system. For large, specifically public companies. I told you before that public companies, they are registered in the stock exchange market, or we call them listed companies. They are not state-owned enterprises. Be careful. Let's go to them one by one now. Number A, as I told you, again, I repeat it again, 4 items, services included in our the first part, assurance services, attestation service, again part of an assurance. In fact, let's define the attestation service. It's a type of service in which the CPA issue a report. So it should issue user a report about what? About a subject matter or assertion that is made by another party. I mean assertion, it means appeal, مزاعم. I mean appeal of the management that everything is perfect, that there is no any error, mistakes in the record. The another party, write it down please. This is the management, right? The primary category of the attestation, they are in fact 4 items, 4 services. First, audit the historical financial statements. In fact, management appeal, I mean, that the financial statements are fairly presented. I cannot mention that it's absolute correct, 100%. There is no complete assurance or certainty, but we call it fairly presented or prepared, stated. This is the first part. According to in accordance with applicable USA, the GAAP, US GAAP, or IFRS, International Accounting Standards, issued by the International Accounting Standard Boards. In fact, auditors should design an audit to provide reasonable assurance. Also reasonable, I mean, يعني be careful, reasonable assurance that the statements are free from what? Material misstatements, تحريفات جوهرية. Material مهمة نسبيا، جوهرية significant misstatement. Reasonable assurance in fact is a high, as I told you before, but not absolute level of assurance. In fact, our auditors or CPAs reports can be found in all public companies, annual report of the public companies. This is number 1 actually. Let's go to number 2, audit of internal control over financial reporting. In fact, I told you before, according to حفظ section 404, very important, from SOX, required our public companies to report about management assessment, evaluation of the effectiveness of internal control. I mean, the management should annually report about effectiveness of internal control inside the company. In fact, again, our auditor for large companies should also issue a report to attest about, or again, the effective of internal control over the same thing, the quality of the internal control over financial report, because it's very important to control over financial report. Even it's more important than control of protecting assets from being theft or stolen. Actually, it's double effort, since both the management as well as our auditor should report about the effectiveness. The following one, review of historical financial statement. Quite lighter review. Please write it down with me. Review means that the CPA provide lower level of assurance for review of what? Of financial statement. compared to high level of audits. Review normally is done by our auditor for the quarter financial statement. We call it interim reporting. Every quarter, all companies in Egypt listed, they have to prepare quarterly a financial statement. We can differentiate between, you can even write it down, between audit and review from many aspects of comparison. You can write it with me. About fees, audit is high, whereas review is low. Number 2, from level of assurance. Again, audit is high, but review is medium. Number 3, evidence. Audit or level of audit is more, but review is less. We call it interim statements. Right. Lastly بقى, other attestation services that may be applied to a variety of subjects. It means, like, for example, when a bank loan money to a company, the loan agreement, the contract, may require the company to engage, to ask help from a CPA. Why? To provide assurance about the company comply with the financial provision of the loan, all conditions imposed by the loan. Right. Let's go to number B, titled Other Assurance Services. In fact, those don't meet the definition of attestation. They differ from attestation services. What for? And that CPA is not really required to issue a written reports. And assurance doesn't have to be about reliability, مصداقية of another party, the management assertion, about compliance with GAAP. In fact, also the other assurance services engagement focus to improve quality of information for the decision making, just like attestation service. Anyway, I can conclude it again, summarize it, that in this part, no report is required, no reliability, that the management or other party apply specific criteria. We aim to improve information quality. You can have a look in your table 1.1 in your book. We have some, don't memorize it, or you just have a look on it, read it, because you must know some examples about other assurance service, like organic ingredients, ISO 9000 certification can help also the management about it. Corporate social responsibility, whether the company report on information about their corporate responsibility toward the society, etc., etc. Just have a look on it, read the examples to know some ideas. Number 2, non-assurance services. The CPA, in fact, perform numerous other services outside the scope of assurance. This is why we call it non-assurance services. The most important aspects or services, accounting, he can introduce, of course, accounting and bookkeeping services to the company, but he cannot audit the same statements or accounting record. We call it outsourcing. We can assign to him to prepare accounting and bookkeeping services. But he cannot be at the same time the external auditor for the company. Again, tax services, like most accounting and bookkeeping service. Tax service also like to help the company to prepare the tax return. Also, he can produce some help the management for some consultation services. In here, actually, the primary purpose of management consultation engagement to generate recommendation for management, like to do some feasibility studies and other services. In fact, although the quality of information is really important criteria in such consultation, the goal is normally not the primary purpose. For example, anyway, the CPA may be engaged to design and install a new information technology for the client or audit client as a consulting engagement. An important note also, I want to confirm it, that SOX doesn't totally prohibit introducing management consultation to the audit client, but it is limited, restricted. Why? To prevent any collusion, تواطؤ, between the CPA and the management. Thank you really. I have finished my lecture, and I see you again in the next lecture. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.